The next type of subsistence mode we're going to talk about is pastoralism. Remember, this is just raising animal herds or living through animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is the breeding, care, and use of domesticated herding animals. A lot of times pastoralism is not so much about the meat that you might get from the animal, but more on other animal products. So things like milk, blood, hair, wool, energy from the animals. This also extends the life and value of the animal. If we're just interested in pastoralist cultures with the meat of the animal, you'd raise the animal for meat, you'd kill it and then you'd be finished. Because they're focusing on other aspects, including those listed there, the animal's value extends beyond its flesh, and so the animals are used elsewhere, and instead of just raising to kill, the animals are raised for a variety of purposes. And remember, in some pastoralist cultures, right, the animals actually are a marker of prestige or social status. Okay, so it goes beyond just providing food, and it adds a critical aspect to the culture. Generally, you'll find sedentary and nomadic pastoralists, just depending on the environment and the type of animal they're raising. So you can have pastoralist communities that never leave where they live. They live in one place. And then you can have nomadic pastoralist cultures where they're actually moving the animals from place to place. There's going to be two types of movement within pastoralism. And so you've got transhumance. And this is going to be regular seasonal movement from one ecological niche to another. So if you have, in the summertime, very green fields, so you move your animals there and the animals graze there. And then in the wintertime, that area is too high in the mountains, so you need to go lower to avoid the cold weather. So in the winter, you move somewhere else. And so this is an example of transhumance. So you're moving along with the seasons from one place to another within your kind of home range or territory or your culture's landmass. And so you're moving at regular intervals. Nomadism is periodic migration where you're actually looking for food or pasture for your livestock. And so this isn't planned seasonal movement. This is where there's no longer food at this particular location, so you move in search of another place where there might be food. Okay, you might also know that there is food there, but this isn't planned seasonal migration the way that we see planned seasonal migration with transhumance. The next one to talk about is intensive agriculture, and this is large scale agriculture. So this is commodity production that requires intensive working of the land with plows and draft animals, as well as the use of technology to control the soil, nutrients, and water in the area. So what we're doing with intensive agriculture is really increasing yields, trying to feed a larger group or community. And so we're intensifying the process, or doing this through intensification processes like preparing the soil. So this can be things as simple as weeding, mulching, mounding. So if you plant things like watermelon, you kind of have to make a mound and put the seed in it. Fertilizers and things like that. Also technology ranging from simple to complex. So simple would be things like a harness and a yoke, so using draft animals to plow your fields. Increasing complexity through systems of canals, so now you're going to have some irrigation, maybe a dam, all the way up to very complex technology, so combine harvesters, so machines that are doing a lot of the work for you. This requires a large labor force and a lot of energy going into it because you are producing a lot of food at one time. And it requires a lot of water management. So if you have a lot of crops in one area, maybe the land can't actually hold that many crops or that much produce naturally, so you have to enhance the soil or manage the water in a specific way, so diverting water, collecting rainwater, and things like that. We also see selective modifying of plants in the soil. We do this through selective breeding, so trying to produce a plant that is bigger, stronger, healthier, produces more fruit, grows more quickly, is drought tolerant, things like that. So we see a lot of selective breeding in this as well. And this is because the purpose is to increase yields. You're trying to get a lot of food out of the same amount of land. And so we're doing things like selective breeding, managing water, managing the soil in order to create larger yields. And then lastly, we are seeing a shift toward industrial agriculture. So this your book defines as a process resulting in the economic change from home production of goods to large-scale mechanized factory production. Okay? So we're seeing a lot of increased specialization with industrial agriculture. You're only producing one crop, so only producing soy, only corn, only cotton. You're not producing a variety of items. And so traditionally soil would be maintained through rotation of crops. So different crops provide different things for the soil and take up different things out of the soil. So if you're rotating the crops or planting them in the same place at the same time, you'll have much healthier soil. But we don't do that with industrial agriculture because you're trying to just grow as much of one kind of thing as possible. Okay, and so this has changed the land, labor, seeds, and water to commodities. And so putting a price on these things, they don't necessarily have a value outside of this system that's quite the same. And then there's an unequal distribution of the products that come out of this system. So we're starting to see the food that is made here doesn't go equally to all communities. Not all communities have equal access to the goods that are being produced through industrial agriculture. And then, of course, as per the definition, you've got increased mechanization and productivity. So machines doing most or all of the work, a less human input, and this increases productivity because a machine can pick corn faster than a human, and it can process soybeans faster than a human, and so it's easier. And they can work 24/7, so you never have to put your machine to sleep to take a break or anything like that. Your machine can just work all of the time.